Alright, what's up guys? So it's been actually kind of a long time since we did any type of filming here up at the shop. The last stuff that you saw was Matt's subframe, getting that thing all set. And then the next video, which was supposed to be this video, was actually supposed to be him getting tuned. But unfortunately the tuner that he set up the appointment with and who he's actually, going to get tuned by, he ended up having a quadding accident and breaking his hip, so he's out for like he's been out for a couple weeks now, and probably still at least another couple weeks, if not a month or so. So Matt's car isn't getting tuned anytime soon, so that's not the next video. So now we're gonna jump into our next build that I have actually outside right now, that I need Matt to come here so he could help me push it in. But before I show you what car that is, I'm going to give you a little bit of background on the car. I got it for pretty cheap off of an ex-coworker of mine, and he said, well, he drove it in one day when he still worked at where I work, and apparently the engine locked up and he wasn't able to drive it, so it got towed in. Right before that, a couple weeks before, he replaced a clutch on it, and after the motor blew up on it, he let it sit for like a year, and I always was texting him saying, when are you going to sell it to me? Kind of just joking at first, like, when are you going to sell that thing to me? And then eventually he moved down to one of the Carolinas. He left the car up here and he needed to get rid of it. So I finally texted him back again. I was like, all right, let's try and figure out a price so I can pick up this car from you, and then I'll just try and fix it and keep it, or fix it and sell it. So we ended up agreeing on a price. So I bought it, I picked it up probably a month and a half ago or so, and now since all the COVID-19 stuff is happening right now, I haven't started on it. Well, I didn't start on it for like a month at least, just because I figured I didn't really have much income coming in because of the whole COVID-19 stuff, and I figured the money that I do have, I have to put into my bills and other things like that, so I wasn't too eager to get started on the car. But I was curious to see what the actual problem was with the car. So probably a week and a half, actually probably about 2 weeks ago now, Matt and I took the transmission out of the car just to check everything out, because I kind of had a suspicion that something specific happened, and it wasn't actually the motor that went on it. Pulled the tranny out, and the tranny is actually right behind me, so I'll go show you what the actual problem was. So this is the tranny. When I was disconnecting the slave cylinder, which bolts onto the back side of this piece right here, I noticed that there was a hole right here, and that's supposed to be like a full casting, not a random hole right there. So I was like, alright. It kind of led me, because I originally thought something happened with the clutch setup on it that made everything lock up. So seeing that little hole right there started leaning me more towards that it actually was the clutch that was the problem. So when I took the tranny off, I found this nice bent and messed up bolt just sitting at the bottom of the bell housing. Along with that, a bunch of metal shavings, and actually on the side of the tranny, let's see if I can get to lighten it up, there you go. There's actually a nice big gouge on the side of the bell housing. So it's not really anything that's concerning. It's not cracked, it's not broken, so I don't need a tranny. Right when I got the transmission off, I used a ratchet with a socket on it, and I was able to spin the crank over, by hand, when before it was totally locked up, showing that clearly it's not the motor that was seized, it was that bolt wedging itself in between somewhere on either the clutch or the flywheel, something holding it all together. So I ended up taking the whole clutch assembly apart and redoing all of it just to make sure everything's torqued right, and I found out that nothing was Loctited, and I couldn't tell for sure if things were torqued, but since that nothing was Loctited, I could probably only assume that it was just impacted together instead of actually torqued. So I went through and I redid everything just to make sure it was all right. So today, hopefully Matt and I will be able to get the tranny back in, because that's all set. I'll show you once we get the car inside. There's stuff up in the engine bay that I had to do, because he took a bunch of stuff apart on the car just to try and start diagging it, trying to figure out what happened, and then he never put it back together, and he lost a bunch of stuff. So I had to kind of sort through everything and figure out what I needed. And one thing that I kind of upgraded was that the factory exhaust on it was all rotted, and it was literally actually falling apart. So I got a whole new stainless kit. So that thing will go on. I bought a lip kit, like a little front lip thing for it, just because I wanted it to actually, I don't know, look a little bit better. But then I actually bought new to me front bumper. That was, the factory bumper was all rock chipped and stuff, but this one was actually a lot cleaner. That's on there right now. So I'll just wait for Matt to show up and we'll push the car in and I'll show you guys the car. Alright, Matt just got here. We just pulled the car in, and so this is the new project car. It is a 04 Infiniti G35. It's the Sport Edition. I don't know what they would call it, but it's got the Brembo brakes on it, and it's a 6-speed manual. And like I said before about engine bay stuff being taken apart, the whole intake manifold was apart. The coils and the plugs were all taken out, and like the intake was all like messed up and like missing. So I was able to get everything back together. I had to buy all new hardware for the manifold because he lost it all. New plugs because he didn't have them. Luckily he still had all the coils, but he was missing the bolts, so I had to buy the bolts. But now the intake's all back together. I got to build a bracket for this so it doesn't just flop around. And then I have an adapter that puts a cone filter on that. But besides that, this is the used new front bumper that I got. Matt is actually going to do probably an entire episode or two on detailing the whole car, because this car is shot, like paint wise. So he's going to try and get it basically almost as shiny as my ISF, and it's been literally outside for a year, so it needs some work. But it should be fun. I got it for cheap enough, so this thing should be worth quite a bit once we're all set. And I wish I had the oil pan so we could get it actually started today, but we could at least do tranny, throw the exhaust and everything in, so literally all I got to do is just put the oil pan on.
Fill it up, start it.
Yeah. Maybe we'll take the battery out before we...
master floor here.
Yeah, maybe I'll take the battery out right now to try and charge it.
Charge it. Yeah.
That's it. So we're going to put it up in the air. We're going to try and get the tranny back in. It only took me like 30 minutes to get it out, so going back in might take a little bit longer because we got to do it right. Unlike before, it was like halfway out already. But luckily, the exhaust we don't need to worry about. All we got to do is bolt in the new exhaust. Alright, so the only sucky part is that our transmission jack doesn't really go up. It'll go down, but it doesn't go up. So I had it up as high as it would go to give us the most room, but we couldn't get the tranny past the bumpers or this like rear brace piece right here. So we had to lower it down a little bit. So now the suckier part is that we're going to have to lower the car down to basically compensate for this thing not going up or down. But at least it's up in the air, not on the ground, using a jack. So we'll just have to make do with this. And we'll just start time-lapsing it. Hopefully it won't take too long to get the tranny attached. Alright, and just like that, one time lapse later, the tranny is in. We just have 2 bell housing bolts that are tight right now. Just got the cross member on, so now we're just going to do all the rest of the ones and get the starter attached. And then we're all set down at the bottom, so we'll just bring it down after that, put the shifter in, and we'll get to start playing with some exhaust. And so now here comes the fun part. So we just did the drive shaft and the shifter. Now we get to start putting the exhaust on, because that's literally all that's left underneath for now until the oil pan comes. So we took the cats off, mostly just to get the tranny out, and I wanted to upgrade anyway. So instead of cats, now we just have the Megan Racing test pipes with the resonators in them. This whole exhaust, this whole build is just all budget. So we got some nice Megan Racing test pipes. And then I went with the SpecD Tuning catback, which I got off eBay, and it was a little less than $300. So with the test, this whole system that you see right here was like $400. So nice and cheap. It's probably gonna sound pretty bad. I looked up videos of it and it doesn't sound that great, but it's just because the old one was rotted and it was literally falling off anyway. So now we're just gonna start from the front. We'll install those test pipes, and then we'll just work our way back until we get to the mufflers. And we'll time lapse it again, and then we'll pick up with you guys right after we get it all tight. Alright, so we just got the exhaust just hand bolted up right now. We're going to go back and tighten everything right now. But it fits pretty much exactly how I thought actually it fits better than what I thought a $275 exhaust was going to fit.
It doesn't fit flush perfect everywhere, but
yeah.
we'll try to work it down.
Yeah, we'll also have to see if we could tighten it more so this gets centered. But I went for the stainless, oh no, not the stainless, I went for the titanium tip just because I figured black car would look kind of cool. Look kind of cool on it instead of just a regular old stainless tip. But then just goes all the way up, all the way to the exhaust manifolds. So now it's catless. Just has resonator right here, the resonators in the center, and then just all the way back to these mufflers with like the like, I don't know, kind of like resonator piece built into that as well. So now we're just gonna go and tighten it all, and then we're pretty much done for today. I wish we could start it, but we'll be done for today.
Well, we can't.
All right, Matt's tightening the last bolt. Exhaust is solid. We got the tip centered.
It's not really gonna move much, even when it's the motor's on.
Yeah, no, but it's not the side to side. It's the up and down. Yeah,
that should move.
We got it pretty much centered in the exhaust holes, and it looks pretty decent. Looks good. We just gotta put the O2 sensors in now. But not bad. I'd rate it out of 5 stars. I'd give it a 4. 4 out of 5 for fitment. It's just sound quality is probably gonna be a 2. So we're just gonna do those O2 sensors and we're pretty much done. Alright, so that's as far as we're getting for today. Next video will be putting the oil pan on that I needed to order. And then besides that, it's ready to start up. So until then, don't forget to hit subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you later. See ya.